Okay, the next one that I want to talk about is, I just like the word, mental schema. Talk to us about what a mental schema is for kids and how that applies to how they approach their day and academics and learning, and some tips and tricks for that.
Yeah, so mental schema is how our brain organizes information. And somebody who has great mental schema can take information, they can file it away like a filing cabinet in their brain, and they can easily retrieve it. There are neural pathways that help them to grab and bring that information out when they need to recall it. However, many of our kids do not have that ability. So when there's struggles in lower functioning areas of the brain, then mental schema will not exist. And what it instead looks like is alphabet soup in the brain, where everything is just kind of floating around. And the things that are easy to grab are usually the things that are of high interest or are of the most importance to that child. And unfortunately, as a former teacher, I will tell you that typically the things that I thought were really important for that child were not in line with what they were. So when I don't have mental schema, then if I can't in my brain organize information and data, then there is no way I'm going to be able to do it and retrieve it in an effective way without using tools, right? So using different organizational systems that we can have, right in front of us. So one thing I think about, like for our middle school and our high school kids, is we have so many really fun, creative projects that are considered like problem-based learning. Like, here's the problem, and I'm going to give you all the liberty to figure out how you're going to solve it. You just have to follow these 12 rules and then show me how to come up with a really great, answer. And like in my head as a teacher, I was like, this is going to be cool. And the kids are going to do things like they're going to come up with skits, or they're going to create a three-dimensional representation, and then they're going to connect all their thoughts to it, right? And so that's the way that my brain worked when I was thinking it. But for a child who doesn't have mental schema, that task immediately feels overwhelming. And so even taking the assignment itself and figuring out how to organize it is really, out of the realm of what a lot of them can do. So when you have a child who struggles like that, it is really important to come up with a lot of different organizational systems for them. But the system has to fit them. And I think that's one thing as a teacher, a lot of times I would be like, but this is a really great graphic organizer if you would just follow it, and to them, it was just another thing to throw into the alphabet soup that was floating around. It didn't make any sense. It's just like the agenda. It was like, hey, use your agenda, but then they would never have it filled out or anything. And you were the one filling it out and then bringing it home to parents and they were signing it. And so when a child doesn't have mental schema, I think the biggest thing to understand is that you are going to have to break things down for them. You're going to have to break down assignments for them. You are going to have to sit by them and use organizational systems together with them. We can't just give them an organizational system. And so really what it comes down to is figuring out, how can I take this information and simplify it by breaking it into really congruent steps for them.
So I think as a parent, what you might see at home when a child struggles with mental schema is that I know you know it, but you're not demonstrating that knowledge in the moment. And that's that ability to retrieve the right information in the right time. I think we can also see some disorganization in things like writing, or the way they're able to maintain their desk or their backpack or their bedroom, that, it's all organization. And so being able to retrieve the right thing in the right moment. And then I think in the classroom, teachers could see that as that overwhelm of again, I don't know where or how to get started.